Roshini Rajkumar is in studio with us. She's a communications consultant and, of course, president of Roshini Performance Group. And we are talking about how we communicate. And I want to move along now. We've talked about corporations. We've talked about people. I want to get back to sports. We started out this conversation with sports, and I think we should end it with sports. I want to talk a little bit about Tebow. When it comes to players who are so passionate about their sport, and they appear to be very spiritual, very religious in their practices on the field. Many people read into that differently. There was never really an explanation when he was asked about it. He just said, look, it's my faith that keeps me going, and that's all he did it for. He just did it because that's his thing. He wanted to give thanks, and that's how he did it.
Right.
But some people read something different into that, like, oh, my gosh, he's the one that God is going to bless. Nobody else.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tebow, which is very difficult because he did not, I don't believe he was the one who created that particular image. I think people took it too far. What could he have done differently?
Well, the whole thing about just the bigger picture here too, Jearlyn, when you are open about your religion, and, some of the candidates have been very open about it, you have to understand there is a message that goes out when you do that, okay? And also think about our country post 9/11, how people of the Muslim faith have been misunderstood, misinterpreted, and then when the memorial was being planned at Ground Zero, just what that would look like. And there was a lot of criticism about having a mosque
built,
there.
Yeah. Which was really 2 blocks away, but okay.
Right. So we have to ask ourselves, who's criticizing what? And if you are a Christian or not a Christian or of a different faith, are you criticizing a majority faith, a minority faith? And that's why originally the framers tried to create this country to not be dependent upon some sort of open religion. And it just, if you're really true to that and objective with that mission, the framers did get it right. It's just it has been changed over time and interpreted in different ways over time. The term, God, the name of God is in a lot of constitutional writing and
I understand
American history
that, yet
writing.
I don't want to begrudge him what helps him move forward.
Right. I think you have to be authentic. And if that's who you are,
Exactly.
as long as it's not hurting anyone, I am always trying to get clients to remain authentic. Sometimes they think, when I'm on a big stage or if I have to do a media interview, I'm going to put on this other more formal version of myself. No, we want you to be professional, but we don't want you to lose that authenticity. So the thing that I would say with him is if it's going to get too personal and not professional anymore, then you shouldn't do it.
But who defines that line?
Well, I mean, there may be some rules that the team has. I mean, it's the kind of thing where he's done some stuff that no one's really done in the same way before. So there's some new rules he's probably setting and may have to set with his ownership. But at the end of the day, if it's something that keeps you authentic, you should be able to express it, as long as it's not getting in the way of the rest of the team. And
yeah. So, Chris, how do you see that? How do you see?
I think Roshini's 100% right. I think the one thing that needs to be mentioned, and this is always true in sports, we see so many times with people wearing their religion on their sleeve. And a number of years ago, there was a quarterback named Kurt Warner who lost the Super Bowl to Tom Brady. He had a lot of success, and the better he got and the more he was associated with great play on the field, people began to, and I hate to say forgive, because you shouldn't have to forgive somebody for expressing their religious beliefs. This is the United States of America, but people look past that. And I had a really unique experience to be able to go to the Dome. I was working a pregame this year when Tebow was playing, and I watched him come out. He was the first guy on the field. He worked harder than any quarterback I've ever seen take warm-ups in a football game before. And it changed my opinion of him because I was thinking of it from the media standpoint. And for me, it was like he's getting all this attention because he shares his faith. It didn't bother me. I just thought it was misdirected. I thought he was getting the attention.
Was it the media that framed this opinion, that really framed the national conversation
it's a good
about
story.
this?
And I think it is a nice story. I don't think there's a negative to it.
Anytime someone's doing something different, it's news. That's the definition of news, right?
Well, I just wonder with our soccer team, right? The American League soccer team. Can you imagine if someone of the Muslim faith all of a sudden started praying to the east?
And that's my point.
To give thanks, in the middle of the game?
We are in a country where if there is a majority religion, it's probably a Christian religion.
Absolutely.
And so what would happen if another religion were to do something like that, if he were of a different faith. And that's why I'm asking. So we need to think about it objectively. If you're going to be okay with him doing that with his current faith, would you be okay with a Buddhist or a Muslim or a Hindu doing something showy in their faith? Now,
Muhammad Ali didn't go to war because of his faith, and he paid a severe price for it.
But at the same time, he wasn't out on the, in the ring.
On that
punching
note,
someone
though,
in the name of Allah.
Jearlyn, let me ask you this. So many times at the Grammys, and I don't mean to pick on singers.
Oh, it's so
but
true.
They all thank God, first of all. And I'm like, really?
Even those that
are
you
thanking God in that hoochie outfit and, your boyfriend who's packing heat? You're really thanking God?
Yeah, and they just got a Grammy for the song "Spank That Girl." Hello.
So if you
I
when
just
you
want to
win,
thank God for
when
giving
you
me the
win
vision
another
of Spank
award,
That Girl.
when you win another award, if you're going to thank God, at least be serious about it.
But it's not that they're not serious.
Do you really
about
think
it.
all of those people are thanking God?
I actually believe that some people believe that whatever it is. Did you ever read the story about the stripper who stripped for Jesus?
No.
I am not kidding you. This is very real. A stripper who would strip for Jesus. And that was her ministry.
Okay.
She'd get on that pole and do her thing, and then she would talk to them.
She would talk to her clients.
Talk to the clients about Christ, or she would do it to a song that
and how were
had
her
a
tips?
Spiritual message.
And how were her tips?
She never talked about the tips in the article that I read, but she really believed within her heart, her personal spiritual constitution. I am to strip for Jesus. She was a stripper before she found Christ. But she believed that's what she was meant to do.
And unfortunately, these are the kinds of people reality shows are built around.
Exactly. But what about pastors? Now, you can actually go to seminary and become a minister where you can start a church and a bar. There are pastors who go to a bar every week, and they sit there, they order a beer, and they wait for people to come join their table, and they talk about Christ. What's the difference?
That's where we need pastors the most.
Yeah, I think that is.
At the bars.
There seems to be, because those pastor guys are keeping their clothes on.
Yeah.
And that seems a little more congruent with Jesus' teachings.
Maybe she's more of an Old Testament girl. I don't know. Maybe she's more of an old. I tell you, Roshini, it's been great having you in studio.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. And hopefully, as what we've learned tonight when we talk about communicating is that we are saying something. Even we don't want to say something. Even when we think, not today. You still are saying
You
something.
are. There are so many subtextual messages, and I just have to share something with you, Jearlyn. So my boyfriend said to me, okay, you're talking politics. Well, she'll always take you into other arenas, so this should be fun. And we did cover a lot of ground. I did not think I would be saying Hoochie Mama and Grammys tonight.
Stripping for Jesus, girl. Stripping for Jesus. Thank you, Roshini. Really appreciate it. Again, give us the name of it is Communicate That Book, because that is the name of your book, and we expect to get another one out of you pretty soon.
Yes, working on the follow-up. But communicatethatbook.com. Lots of free advice on there with the blog. And then I'm at Roshini on Twitter and Communicate That on Facebook.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.